Military TikTok. A lot of people are saying the military is being destroyed by TikTok. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if the military is being destroyed, if morale is being destroyed, or if TikTok has just given the whiners a platform. I know when I was in the Navy, that old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the most oil. And if a sailor isn't complaining, something's wrong. And I'm sure it's probably the same way in the Marine Corps. If somebody's not complaining, something's really a disaster. And I think TikTok is just giving them a platform. Do I agree with them doing it in uniform on base while they're on deployment? No, that just seems like the wrong headspace. But at the same time, when you have a 4-star general, the chief of staff, joint chief of staff chairman, going on his social media platform and crying, openly crying about diversity and St. Floyd, he's kind of opened the door for everything. I mean, he's kind of set the precedence. You've seen what was the name of the colonel, the Marine colonel, the lieutenant colonel that, Stewart something, I forget his name.
Schiller.
He got on. Yeah. He got online, complained, got on his whining box, got his Kleenex. And if you do that, it sets the precedence for junior personnel. If they're not complaining, something's wrong. If they are complaining, it's normal. It's just a platform now. Everybody's got a cell phone. And I'll yield my time over to you, JT.
And that's a good point. That's why I'm glad we don't talk about this much, because, I have a position and I go, I got a different position. So you're right. There is always complainers. Always that 10%. Do you ever hear that in the Navy? The Marine Corps, there's always that 10%. You're on deployment with the guys, you're sitting there waiting to go somewhere and your ship too long. You're supposed to be off a week ago and they're bitching. You're like, bro, we're all here. Like, we all get it. Smack to the head. But you can't do that anymore, because that was a functional tool that my mother would do to me. I got mouthy, get the backhand, but I get mouthy a lot. But you're right. So it is the leadership, but you got to think. I mean, here's the thing. I did a video locals and I said, I got Walt's pool service, right? You can all the Walt shirt and you're ragging on me as Walt, the owner, and you come to my face and say your place sucks and you're acting a fool with a Walt's pool service shirt on. I'm firing your ass. Okay. As a business owner, I've owned several businesses. All people representing the company with my shit on. Just period, end of story. Free speech, not free speech. Take the stuff off. If I'm paying you for 8 hours of work, I expect you to work 8 hours, not play on TikTok. Let's say they're off. Their utilities on. Okay, fine. Just take it off. Don't do your thing. But there is no free speech to the military, number one. UCMJ, it doesn't work that way. No, you saw what happened to Schiller just by coming out. There's no free speech. And it starts trickling down. Like the video I had today, I had the sergeant on. I couldn't speak English. Basically, I needed a translation dictionary to figure out what she was saying. And I agree with some of the stuff she was saying, but everything has gotten so casual that it affects them when they get out. I got little bit of time. When you get out, this is going to springboard you to failure and bitching and whining to VFW, or springboard you to doing something else. Success on your own. Because most people do one pump, they're getting out. So you got to take this as a springboard and say, this is my resume right here that I'm putting online. Stop looking foolish. That's all I got. I mean, on that topic, it's very disturbing outside of the military.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. It's disturbing outside of the military. And some of these young men and women, I mean, they're hurting themselves by deterring other people from coming in. They complain about long shifts, long work, long deployments. Well, if you inhibit more people coming in and helping you, you're just kind of, hurting yourself. And it's definitely hurting recruiting, retention. I mean, if anything, get on there and, they paid with the Navy, get on there and pay these young people to praise the military to get more people in.
And they've had, you remember Nava the Beast? He was that Marine, became a realtor. Yeah. He just got dunked on every which way to Sunday. He was Mr. Positive, fitness guy.
Yep.
I saw him and I go, okay, that's his jam. People, oh, he's a pogue. He's in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. He was a good recruitment tool. There was a young black kid I had on, I think a sergeant. He'd always snapping or eating M&Ms or something. And you look, and I had him on, and he went from being really a TikTok recruiter for the military to getting bitter about somebody got promoted ahead of him. I think he was a cook, and just bitter and angry. And the military didn't help because he was a useful tool. I mean, he was
Uh-huh.
positive. He's funny. He had a certain crowd. He had like a little shtick in his TikToks. And then I saw him one day before he got out. He had like a weave and just like, whatever, F the military. Like, I'm like, whoa. Like, why would you let that guy go? There's been several guys I've seen on. There's another guy. I can't remember. He's on the one where it's like lifer, fresh out, and Sergeant Majors. The video I did in James's Travels. He was like a military guy, like getting people interested. Like my video, I had several guys. Like I talked to a friend of mine. His son joined, and he's just finished up RAS. He's like, I joined because your videos. And not that I don't dunk on the military, but use that compressed amount of time for a springboard. You get a lot of stuff compressed in quick. You may hate it all. That's good. You learn a lot. You may love it all. Great. You may make some friends. But if you use it just for like the 13th grade, you're not helping yourself. I guess we'll go on to the next one. We're going to talk about Colorado and that whole shit show. This is unprecedented timeline we're in, and the rules are made up as they go. But let you fire away, and then I'm going to get some ideas of what you have to say.
First thing I want to say is the United States, we have invaded other countries for doing what Colorado is doing, for having unfair elections, for having unfair governments. We have invaded those countries when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of Defense, right? We came, we saw he died. You know what I'm talking about? So where's the United States military at? Why aren't we invading Colorado and flipping tables over in their quote Supreme Court? Now, I fully believe other states are going to follow suit if our Supreme Court doesn't overturn it. And if they do, if the United States Supreme Court overturns this, all of these other states are going to be like, well, Colorado was wrong. You know, they kind of trotted them out. And Colorado, right. I mean, you've lived there. This is the state where marijuana is legal and you can go buy mushrooms, right? I mean, this is the state where everything is. It's kind of the petri dish for this. It's California in the mountains, basically, is what this has turned into. And my last point, all of this is building up to exactly what happened in 2016, where Trump had the 24-hour news cycle. Every channel, every station, every network, Trump, Trump, Trump. And I think that's what it's believing up to now. And they have made a martyr out of this guy. The same way on TikTok, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, the way TikTok made a martyr out of OBL, they're going to make a martyr out of Trump with this. I firmly believe they're making a martyr. They're turning him into a boogeyman, and everybody likes a comeback.
All right, so Trump, Colorado. You know, I saw some experts and realized what experts are if somebody anoints them an expert. I mean, you think about the people that are the experts on WMDs in Iraq, Bill Kristol, follow those people who've always been wrong and always get a spot at the table to talk about where we should invade. There's an expert on CNN saying, well, the 14th Amendment, and that was a ruling too, says if you're an insurrectionist effectively, you're out. You can't be in. And they said, well, it doesn't say whether you be convicted or not. Albeit all of our laws based on innocent until proven guilty, you're not convicted, so you're not an insurrectionist. There's been no charge of insurrection. And they quote something of his, and you guys we can put it up or link to it. They quote something he said. They don't quote come peacefully, you know, all those things at the end of the speech and his tweets and everything else that Twitter yanked down, by the way. So what you're doing is if Biden's a strong candidate, let him win on his merits. You know, why would you want to shoot at a guy like this in particular? Get him off a ballot. And I saw Jeremy come out and he took his tweet down. I'll give him that. It doesn't matter. He wasn't going to win Colorado anyway. It sets precedent in law, fucktard. And I said to him, I said, what are you talking about? You go, oh, I thought about it. So I give him that benefit of the doubt. It sets precedent in law. It sets a tone. Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Ohio, I don't think so. But why not? I mean, Arizona, I'm sitting here in Arizona right now in a hotel living the dream, Katie Hobbs. Why not? It doesn't take much to change that. And we've done so much in law that's just unprecedented. Like we just say, well, this doesn't apply anymore. Hillary Clinton, server, basement, everything she's doing is top secret and war. They go, oh, it's not a big deal. We can't prosecute her. What can we do? I mean, just throw it out. But yet a guy sitting in Miami during J6, 17 years in prison, we just make it up as we go. Due process. It doesn't apply to these guys. Just sit in jail and rot, buddy. So we've just changed lawfare into a whole different thing. It's terrifying. It's terrifying because there's people on Twitter who are like, and again, you guys, I know my time's up, but you guys watching this, you don't do Twitter, but that's where the news gets all their news stories from. I can tell you, I can see it happening real time. It's a real mess there, and they maybe make him a martyr, but I don't know. What else you got, Ben?
You know, you touched on something there. If Trump was already going to lose in Colorado, and if I'm Biden, I know that I can pull 81 million votes. I've got 81 million votes. Why am I worried? I can beat this guy again, right? Muhammad Ali never dodged Michael Spinks because he knew he could beat him. He knew he could beat Spinks. I think he beat him 2 or 3 times. He knew he could beat him. He knew he could beat him. So why wouldn't you say, if this is the Republican Party's best candidate and I've already beat him, bring it on, you know? I don't understand. I think this is perfectly timed with a couple of other big news topics that we might cover that, you know, are rolling out the same thing with Jeffrey's Fantasy Island list about to come out. And
you say that.
The border.
I heard somebody talk, and I don't know where it was at, and they said, how much do you think Trump's spending illegal? Oh, it's Sean Ryan podcast. How much do you think, it was one of his former attorneys it was on. How much do you think he's spending in legal fees per month or per year? I don't know. It was like 20 million per year. It's probably more than that. So you think about this. You just keep firing shots. We'll just call it small arms fire. Chinking away, taking up time. You don't know what's going to hit, but you got the bait out there. Colorado may hit, and they just go, it's dead. It's not, it's dead issue. But you just keep throwing enough at the table. I mean, when he was president, the whole time he had Congress, the 2 years he had Congress was jammed up with hookers in Russia. I mean, so nothing gets done. They wouldn't give him $4 billion for a wall. I mean, I don't want to preach to the choir here, but come on. I mean, it's just another thing, a tactic, and the lunatics love it. What do we got, Ben?
I was going to talk about Jeffrey's Fantasy Island. It looks like the names are coming out.
Right. Well, hit the timer. I got some thoughts.
You go for it.
All right. So Jeffrey's list is not who's on the list, it's who's not on the list. Been massaged 1,000 times. So we know Trump will be on the list just because. Whether he was there or not's irrelevant. He used the plane, so he'll be on the list, which everybody used the plane. Because Jeffrey would try to get everybody in. You know, why? There may be people who went to the island who went, whoa, what am I don't want part of this. I mean, that could be a real thing too. Who's on the list? It's been built up so much. Anybody on the list is convicted already. Now, are we going to see the list? Why are we going to see the list now? Just like we're going to see the J6 footage when Kevin McCarthy went into office. Leaked one little clip to Tucker. The Horn guy, he gets out of prison immediately. Like, I didn't even hear what happened. He's just out. Remember that? 4 years prison. He's just out of prison. That was shocking. Like, I don't even know how he got out. Like, it wasn't even like a new court case. It was like, oh, you're gone. No, we don't worry about this. So leak the list. Come on. Do you think we're going to see who's really on that list? At this point, the answer is no. I don't think we're going to see who's really on the list. And people who went to the island doesn't necessarily mean anything per se. You think they'd know, but why not invite somebody that you were not sure of and tempt them with some 16-year-olds and maybe get the video footage? Because the FBI allowed his attorney to go and take all the videos. Plus, the FBI has videos. We're not going to see this. We haven't seen JFK files. I'm not seeing the Epstein list. Give me a break. What do you think? That's all I got.
I think you're exactly right. It's all about timing. There are no coincidences. This is getting trotted out at the exact perfect timing for a distraction. They just signed this NDAA authorizing more funding. The border there is no border. I don't know what you call it. There is no border.
Yeah.
There is no order at the border. I think it's ironic that they would trot this out at this time frame with the Colorado, with the McCarthy January 6 tapes, with the border, with all this. It's all just, let's distract you before you go into the Christmas weekend. And after the Christmas weekend, you'll come back and you'll forget, because the 24-hour news cycle, it flushes things out so fast. Like you get some water in a fuel line, you dump enough gas in it, it flushes it out. Everybody forgets how the water got in. That's exactly what this is. And I mean, it's like the Texas governor suddenly making it illegal for illegals to come into the state. What is that? The list, we're never going to see the name. We're going to see the names they want us to see. That's the names we're going to see. We're not going to see the names of the former presidents that are on there.
No.
And we all know probably Barack Hussein, Obama will be on there. Here's something even crazier. Who cares about the list? What about the painting of Bill Clinton in the blue dress? Nobody remembers that, right? Because it got flushed out with the news cycle. It just got flushed out. Nobody else is talking about Blinken, our Secretary of State, is related to Ghislaine Maxwell. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody. No, that doesn't hit the news cycle because it's a distraction.
Of course not.
Everybody's forgot about Hunter Biden because we got the new list coming out, right? That's all I got.
Well, the Hunter Biden thing, what the salient point to that whole statement is, hey, my dad's sitting here, we the 10 billion, he gets 5. That statement, that's gone. I don't even hear people on the right talking about that. Like, I don't care what he did in his personal life, how many girls he paid for, how much nose candy he did. I don't care. Most people don't care, but they throw a lot of that at us. So normal people go, I don't care about that. They ignore, hey, my dad's here, he expects his dough. 10% big guy. You know, the partner, his ex-partner, Hunter, is saying, hey, dad was in on the deal. That's all a part of the laptop, but no one seems to want to do anything. And then you see, like, I see Margaret Taylor Greene and them tweeting about this. And I go, you guys are too weak to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, you see the whole GOP apparatus saying, I don't see anything on Biden. Well, don't waste the time, because if it's going to the Senate, I mean, impeachment, if it's going to the Senate, they're not going to get the votes anyway. It's just another impeachment for pretend. And it's not working when the GOP, like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, come out and go, well, I see no evidence. I'm like, well, we're done. We're done there. When
Lindsey's on the list. You know Lindsey's on the list.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the boys' weekend. I mean, it is shocking how this keeps rolling out. Let's talk about the vet bros again. I want to bring this up because there's a vet bro I tweeted out, and he was talking about I stand with the Palestinians. He's a vet bro, and it shows, you know, him walking around, all of his boys with ARs, you know, all kitted up.
Patriotic.
Denver somewhere, Colorado, right? Patriotic, right? The big, you know, Delta beard, you know, kind of thing. I go, if you're a patriot, dude, you need to go down to the border. That's patriotism. If you're a patriot, it means you're patriotic for a country, which is America. Go to the border. We did a video about that here already, but I've seen it again. Like, everyone, I'm going to go to Palestine. Like, what are you going to do? So you're going to go there, somehow interject yourself into that shit show. I just can't take that anymore. These people saying, like, they just don't, no one cares. And we did a video and talk about Tim Kennedy and all the vet bros. They all talk about it, talk a big game. And now I'm not going to think they're too smart to figure out they can't do anything about it, but no one even pretends. It's like, oh, I'm going to go protect Jordan's border, Ukraine's border. Just it's sickening. I mean, do you want to touch on that, or is it dead? Is it dead issue?
I've got a take on it, and I saw your tweet, and I think it was ironic that, like you said, this guy considers himself a patriot. He's got the flag on, the flag tattoo, the flag hat, and he's going to go and do something in Palestine. Well, dude, how about going to Chicago? How about clean up Chicago? How about go to Appalachia and help with the vitamin F crisis there? The southern border. If you want to be a patriot, go down there and pull a shift down there, helping people through the razor wire, right? Like, I mean, that's what you're going to do. And even if he does go to Palestine, here's the other thing is, so he goes there. The first thing he's got to do, if he's going to be this patriot, get a firearm. How's he going to get a firearm in Palestine? And wouldn't it be ironic for some American, quote, patriot to go to Gaza and get hurt on the battlefield from an Israeli Defense Force troop, military member, an Israeli member,
go to war
to take out a patriot on the battlefield? How does that conversation go? You know what I mean? Hey, Mr. President, Netanyahu's on the phone. One of his soldiers took out one of your, quote, patriots because your patriot was over here fighting for the ham sandwiches. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or for this guy to go, it would be epic for one of these Patriot Navy SEALs to go drown in a tunnel that the Israelis are flooding. That would be the ultimate level of irony. But I see it happening because these people are idiots and they're very pick and choose what they support. They just support the current thing. But go to the southern border. Tim Kennedy, you live in Texas, go to the border. Black Rifle, go to the border. You can load up a whole platoon of Black Rifle bros and go to the southern border, you know?
Yeah, they're never going to the border. Now, I don't remember his name. And you guys watching, a lot of this we decided we'll have some general ideas, but just throwing stuff at each other. And I do find it to be actually more fascinating if you really think about it. So I sent you the thing about this SEAL who got booted out, who went to the French Foreign Legion, and he's all juiced up. And as a guy who's taken steroids before, I know what all juiced up looks like. So let me say that with clarity. He's all sauced up. He's making the rounds, and he was on Ritland's podcast. Mike Ritland. I like his podcast. And I tried to get him. I'd give the guy more press than Mike Ritland would. I'm not against Mike, but I put him on James's Travels. I'll blow that thing up. But I'm going to ask real quick. I don't even want to dunk on the guy. I went to his page. I sent him a thing. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk. Lots of questions. Lots of French. I mean, I have a huge French viewership. The French Foreign Legion videos, things to crank. SEAL, of course, it's a no-brainer. But there's a lot of red flags, man, with this guy. The channel got popped up. French Foreign Legion, Navy SEAL. I'm like, first thing that goes to my mind as a guy who's been exposed to this is, you're a Navy SEAL, you did 6 years. Okay, you work for GRS or you work for Blackwater or some variation thereof, whatever the current thing is. You used to be executive outcomes, triple canopy. You go do that job, right? You go pull security from Madonna. Good job, right? You go do something like that. Well, why would you? The French Foreign Legion is for people that have significant problems. Now, he didn't get in jail for like being attempted murder. It was all drug related, too much booze, too much ego, too much mental illness, fights and shit like that. Interesting deal because you wouldn't go there. Now, you think about it real quick. Military contractors. He couldn't get a gig with a military contractor at all. Otherwise, he'd taken it. Like you go try to go to GRS, work for the agency, or you try to go, some version thereof of military contracting. You go work in Algeria, protecting oil executives, some shit. He's got the resume, right? But and I've watched all the stuff. So I know people like the guy. I looked at him. I don't dislike the guy, but he still has all these flags. Like he's got gold teeth in the bottom. Like thinks he's a black guy or something. He's all sauced up. He's got neck tats. It's like every red flag for mental illness is right there. Now the Legion will take him because they won't put up with that shit. I don't know if he's out of the Legion or not, but I find his whole thing because he's growing an audience on he's using like the ex-convict guys that are on YouTube that are like a big time. They're all sauced up and like, bro, you just got to get it on when you're in I'm the shot caller. What do you think about this guy?
I watched that podcast. You sent me the link to it. It's a combination of the Liver King and like Jocko. I think he wants to be the next Jocko Willink, but I smelled a book deal a mile away because that's usually why these people trot around to these podcasts. Marjorie Taylor Greene made the rounds selling a book. Elizabeth Cheney making the rounds selling a book. This Mike Ritland has got, or not Mike Ritland's the podcast. This Kavanaugh guy has got someone to write him a book because I guarantee you he's not writing.
No.
If he wrote anything, it's going to look like a freaking ransom note, right? It's going to be in crayon and look like a ransom note. And he's sauced up. He's juiced up. He looks the part, right? He looks the part. He's going to make his rounds to a couple of these shows. He's going to hope that they can get him on Rogan. That's his ultimate thing. If he can get on Rogan, he's made. The Kingmaker has made him. He would love to get, I guarantee you now he's going to try to get into some UFC, Foreign Legion, Navy SEAL fights on UFC. Something along those lines. He's just trotting for endorsements. He's got a book deal. I'm going to buy the book and read the damn thing. But it's so amazing. There's so many red flags. Because like you said, why join the Foreign Legion? As long as you have the ability to get a security clearance, which obviously he doesn't, There's no chance he gets the security clearance. And the very first couple of sentences on the podcast, well, I got arrested such and such, and I had to take leave to go to jail. Dude, you just killed any chance of a normal life, a normal job. Go back to France, go back in the Foreign Legion, and continue your YouTube journey, because it's not going anywhere else. He is toxic. I wouldn't touch the guy.
In Britlin's comments, I was reading them. People like, I got so much inspiration from him. He takes responsibility. I'm going, okay. I haven't watched all this stuff. I'll be honest. I watched some. I wasn't taking. Well, you know what I wasn't getting? Maybe he seemed like he was. He was saying he's a fuck up. I mean, clearly he's a fuck up. But why would the Navy, now this wasn't long ago, take a guy who didn't graduate high school? I mean, how did he get that far? He might be a smooth talker. He had something. Because the Navy going to invest that much time in a dude who's got a history of already making mistakes, right? Pop for drug tests. He said he tried. Marine Corps couldn't get in. Tried the Army. And the Navy took him. The Navy usually was the bottom of the barrel for that job. You know, because you're investing a lot of money in the guy, realizing these are already kind of high-rev dudes who already have a propensity for addiction problems. Just that type of dude. You know, just what it is. Could be, I knew Marines are like that. Or they're not Navy SEALs. They're high-rev dudes that had propensity for addiction problems. That part was weird, because I would say, I don't know how in the hell you got in. He did. Mike vetted the guy. And based on his fights and his problems and punching, out of his 4.5 years or 5 years, whatever he did, he was either at captain's mass, office hours, whatever the hell they're calling it in the Navy, whatever, or the brig or something, would have to be half the time. How is he deployable when he's not charges? I know you can't get deployed when you get charges. I am so perplexed. I have so many questions. Like, I would give the guy a fair shake, because it's very interesting. And I would say the question, you had whatever amount of time you had in the Navy. I don't know if he did 6 years. For some reason I had 4 years. The whole time, like, was he an E1 when he got out, like basic seaman? I mean, that's a question, interesting question. Like, what was your rank when you got? Just curious. Well, I got busted for it. Okay, cool. I get it. But if you can't get a security job with that training, that's a tier 2 solid shit, right? You should be get GRS, okay, just say an addiction problem. I go, okay, you managing it now, bro? You can go, okay, good. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with how that works, but there must be something else. Now, you do have to take psych eval, and you do have to take a lie detector test. And if you better be honest on lie detector. You say, yeah, I shut up H when I was in Thailand. Just say you did it. I don't do it anymore. They're like, okay, cool. But I don't care if you were used as a spit hog with 2 dudes. You better say you did it. I mean, you have that is lie detector. You just say you did it. They were like, they may not like it, but they're more concerned about you lying. There must be something like that. I'm just so curious, as a childlike curiosity.
I think it's going to be interesting what other podcast, what other groups avoid him. I think that is what's going to be telling. Ritlin does a good job. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's just the kind of the entryway into that bro community. Yeah. I don't think he's got the weight that some of these others do. But I think this Foreign Legion guy, he is trying to get in with that crowd. Maybe get on with Matt Best and be a Black Rifle Coffee guy. I don't know. But I really think he's seeking some kind of sponsorship, corporate thing. He's got a book. I'm ordering the book. I watched that whole damn podcast. I can't believe I did it. You took 2 hours of my life away, but I watched the whole damn thing. And it was cringeworthy. It was cringeworthy because it was so like, he was so proud of being a fuck up. I mean, I have screwed up many times in my military career. I have had some very fun times in Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Tijuana, but I'm not proud of it. It was just out drunk with the boys, but this guy is proud of. I can't wait to read the book. It's going to be interesting to keep track of who doesn't latch on to him.
I don't see him getting
like. Going to be interesting.
He's not going to get like a Jocko. Jocko's not big anymore. I think he made his money in supplements. I saw his stuff in a sporting goods store in Colorado near Fort Carson. I don't remember what it was, but he's already made his coin. His podcast
he
is kind of, I don't see it doing what it did, but he's done well. Good for him. I like Jocko, but I'm trying to think of the other big players. I don't really keep up, but like you, Black Rifle Bros. Every SEAL's got one. There's Mike Glover does a good job. I just don't see him.
Brandon Herrera, Mike Glover.
The guy who writes the books, the former SEAL.
Jack Carr.
It just seems like there's way too many. Like, you'd have to ask the question, like, walk me through this, buddy. Like, really.
So
hard.
I know the backstory on Jack Carr. So
you told me about that.
Yeah, I know the real story behind Jack Carr. All that glitters isn't gold, is all I got to say.
I don't want to make this a dunk
on that.
And if he sees it, I'm not dunking on the guy.
No.
I got a lot of questions. And I think it's important if you're going to be an inspirational dude, when you show up yoked as fuck, and I know you're taking, 500 milligrams of test, 3 or 4 IUs of trenbolone acetate, taking the growth hormone, I can look at you, and you say you had an addiction problem. It's a Liver King thing. I was like, bro, I'm totally clean. I'm like, bro, come on. And I don't care you're doing it, but it's a whole package. It's a package deal. When I see the package, I go, like, the Legion's the last place you go. Unless, say, you've got a heart murmur. The U.S. military is like, no, we can't take it. Maybe to Legion, you're one of those guys. I sent you that video of the Marine, a little side note, who he said, I was basically, no one liked me in the Marine Corps. Sent you a link to it. And he'd gone to Ukraine, been in Syria. He's a little guy. He's got a great big channel. I kind of thought, okay. But like when he was he was at 29 Palms, like everybody's picking on him. He's little and he's humping gear and he's calling him a, pussy. And he got out, like administrative discharge. They just go, bro, you should get out. I go, wow. Like, I've known some really shitbags, but they get tossed around. They put them on guard duty. They put them on this duty. Keep them away from the platoon. But I was like, wow. And people like him. I watch it. I go, okay. I haven't seen enough of his stuff. He seems very likable because he's like, yeah, it wasn't cut out for. I was too small. I think he said it was like 115 pounds. I'm like, oh, I guess so. When you're humping that much gear, 29 Palms, which you haven't been in there. Just think of it, the biggest shithole in the world. Add more heat and desert. You are. All right, what else you got, man?
Well, you're talking Marine Corps, and I know this one's going to hit close to home, and I'll just tell you. So, 2 days ago, Marine One landed at the White House.
Oh, God.
Fox News, being the predators that they are and the voyeurs they are, they had the camera set up when Marine One lands, and who pops out, hat down low, collar up, incognito? Hunter Biden. He dodges a congressional subpoena, and now he's flying around on the Marine One on the taxpayer's dime. I got to hear your take on it.
Well, the manifest, right? I think I tweeted, like, it's on the manifest. Like, the moron you don't want to come on the trip is on the manifest. So that crew chief has got a manifest. Whoever's in charge of that helo, there's Hunter Biden's on that. Like, who's not on there? And then Jean-Luc Pierre's like, I don't know, Hunter's on there? I mean, just flaunt it. I mean, you had cocaine in the White House when your son was there, who's a known cokehead. Of course, it begs the question, did Hunter bring it? Like, okay, I got hit by a red truck. And I get hit again by a red truck. I think it's a red truck hitting me. So it's a shocking thing that you just go, what's a big deal? Hunter need to go. But yet you got, like, add the guys that have gone to either got charged or whatever, contempt of Congress. Lois Lerner's like, I plead the fifth. Holder's like, I'm not coming. What are you, insane? I got Barry as my backup, son. I ain't coming to that. I don't know why I just didn't flaunt it at this point, because the people on the left don't care. Hunter's the best in the world. He's amazing. It's like the people on the left with the Senate staffer who's getting the cornhole was like, it's love. We should be celebrating love. People on the left are like, yeah, you should be. What did we go into this time warp? Like, can we just not do that and videotape it? Well, here's the thing. He knows there's cameras in that room anyway. He's making his own video. Somehow it's leaked to, like, Pornhub or something. And he sees it like, that's a Senate meeting room. It's astounding the decorum level. Like, we have the person take the top off. We got Hunter, the nose clams. I don't know who did it, but the Secret Service knows. They won't even tell you. They're like, well, I don't know. We just can't tell. We don't know. We just don't know. It just becomes too much, but I guess it doesn't matter. If you look at polls, it's like, Joe's got this in the bag. And maybe the country shifted that far or none of it matters. And I question that because they say they're going to make the biggest issue for this election abortion. I'm like, that was a Supreme Court decision. What do you think, man?
I look at Hunter Biden now. It's Christmas time. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You got Cousin Eddie rolling over. Hunter is Cousin Eddie. He rolls over and the shitter's full. I mean, literally, Hunter is Cousin Eddie. He rolls over. Everybody's like, oh God, Hunter's here. I mean, that's what they have to be saying. These White House staffers, if you've never been in the White House, the downstairs area is basically a working office. It is a corporate environment. Right outside the Oval Office, it is a working office. Staffers are running in and out of there like a newspaper press room. And everybody has to be thinking, oh God, Hunter's here. Oh God, Hunter's here. And that's the way it is. It's like, I mean, we've all got the in-laws, the cousins, the next door neighbors that when they show up, it's like, what do they want to borrow? What have they taken? Yeah, what did they get into the china this time or the silver? And that's the way it is right now. And I guarantee you, I mean, you remember when Bill left the White House, there was all these paintings and things that left. What is Hunter peddling right now? I mean, if he couldn't remember to pick up his laptop, what else is he selling, right? I mean, I just don't understand. But him to be riding on Marine One on the taxpayer's dime, it's just in your face. You can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. Yeah, no. It's because of the love. His father loves him so much. It's all about love.
He's the smartest man. Wait, he's the smartest man he's ever met. You know, just like Bo Biden died in Iraq kicking in doors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm like, okay, you get a license, you get older. I get it. But the guy knows he's recorded nonstop. I'm born in my class. Law school. No, you weren't. I marched at Selma. No, you didn't. I mean, it's never-ending list that people just go, well, here's the thing. I think the left goes, well, he said it. That's all that matters. He would have if he could. He would have marched, but he couldn't. The same guy, I mean, I don't stop on that. You could go on and rant. It's amazing. The whole thing is amazing.
I got another topic for you. And for everybody that's watching, me and JT basically text cryptically through the week. And we don't really talk about what we're going to talk about or what topics we're bringing to the table. But it's interesting that we have different perspectives. Now, you brought up something just a minute ago with the word salad maker. Now, here's the new thing. On January 22nd, Kamala Harris is going on a reproductive freedom tour. She's going to hit all the major cities around the United States in an effort to promote reproductive freedom. That's the new term, reproductive freedom. It's not pro-abortion, it's reproductive freedom, because abortion has now turned into contraception. That's what it is. Abortion is now a form of contraception. I want to know your take on everybody's favorite vice president and her reproductive tour. I've already got you a ticket coming to a city near you.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So it used to be safe, legal, and rare. That was the pitch. And you go, okay, it happens. And then deep down, people like me go, these people that are low tier scumbags probably shouldn't have kids. Okay, fine, whatever, right? Enter Rona, and the language and definition started mattering to me. I go, whoa, we change definitions constantly. We're always looking to Europe for our guidance. Europe is period in the story, most of Europe, except Russia and China. I know it's not Europe, but I guess we'll stick with a continent here. You get my point. So, but yet they just kept doing it. 30-week-old, no big deal. Shirts, 21 abortions, I'm proud. They just kept rubbing our faces in it where I don't give a shit if that low-life scumbag who couldn't figure out the pills that they get for free, they couldn't cap up the guy's dick. Yet they have an abortion. They can't figure it out. All of a sudden, it's like 30 weeks in. Oh, I just figured it out. I'm like, come on. And they bring up the one woman who's got a kid with a problem, and they make it into a whole thing about there should be something in the law that says if it's the death of the mother, you know, there's certain things, practical things, you should be able to take care of it. And we'll take care of it as an aborted. If the mother's going to die, okay. You know, the baby's some sort of big problem. Now, I know absolutists will say no, but I think most people are on board with that. But 30-week abortions is too much. Kamala talking about it is comical. I mean, she swallowed Willie Brown's kids. A barren woman talking about reproductive rights, talking about children. I just can't take it. It's like the YouTubers. They care at all when they were cutting off little Johnny's Stones, his balls at 8 years old. God forbid surrogacy. Holy shit. The wheels fall off the bus. Like, wait a second. You were cool with drag queen story on a female penis falling out, but yet you got a problem with the surrogacy. It's interesting. She's worthless. I think she's a detriment to the movement. Oh, my God.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The best thing that happened for any pro-life group is Kamala Harris going on tour, because she was supposed to be in charge of the border. We see what's going on there, right?
Yeah. Borders are.
The best thing that happened for pro-life wasn't for Roe v. Wade being repealed. It's for Kamala to go and talk about it. I can't wait. The gaffes are going to be amazing. If you're a stand-up comedian right now, money is good because you have so much to talk about. Bill Burr was on the other night with everybody's late night alcoholic, Jimmy Kimmel, talking about how the Democrats have basically turned Trump into a martyr by talking about him all the time. And that's exactly, if they would quit talking about him because everybody thinks Trump's a narcissist, he'd go away. But by trotting Kamala out for reproductive freedom, if I am a pro-life group, I am paying for gas for her plane, her bus, her hotels, whatever she wants. If she only wants the blue M&Ms in the green room, I'm getting them, because she's going to turn a lot of people against their own movement, because she is the most hated woman in America. I used to think it was Hillary. Kamala's the most hated woman in America right now, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, she is the most hated woman in America. It's hilarious. Even, like, how many times have you seen Kamala on The View? She's not been on there. If the idiots on The View won't invite you on, you are a detriment and dangerous. The View even had Trump on, and they haven't had Kamala. There you go.
Kamala is, I think, a Dan Quayle. He was nice, but gaff machine. Smart, but like potato could be sold different. I mean, most people don't know who Dan Quayle is, but she's such a gaff machine. She wasn't always that way. That's the confusing part. She was a senator. She was the attorney general.
District attorney.
She was cutting, man. She
State
was
DA.
Sharp and really to the point. And, on target, I thought, this is Nancy Pelosi, protege right here. And now she just like lost her. I don't know what happened. Like, it seems like she's medicated. She talks in the third person, like Bob Dole used to do. Yet she's talking about herself. And then to take the bus, we got to get on the bus to go to the bus stop to get the bus, take the bus to the bus station. What are you talking about? Making me crazy because you're so insane. Here's one for you. When are they going to try to plot out? Are they going to try another Rona? We don't have to go long on this. We don't have to go 2 minutes, but do you think they are?
I have started to see a lot of people wearing the train robber mask. I've started to see it. President Biden, the CDC, has now just approved 3 more doses. They've already approved 3 more doses. Yeah. And I really think, why not? If it worked, go back. It's like in football, right? It's in football.
Yeah, keep running that play, baby.
If it works, if you get 4 and 5 yards every time you run it up the middle, why would you ever throw the damn ball? Why would you do it? Why would you throw the ball?
I agree. Why not roll it out? Call it Trump. Call it the Trump variant. You say, look, he's literally Hitler. I mean, literally Hitler. This, and here's a good topic we can rant on. Where does this thing go in Yemen with the Houthi rebels? Because they're throwing out like Top Gun videos, showing the guys marching. You come here. Now, I wish Eric Prince was on Twitter. because Eric Prince, they solved the Somali issue with the pirates. Like
Quickly.
it was solved like within 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks.
It was boom, gone. Oh, we're done. We're done.
Here, I'll start the
We
clock
can
on you.
solve this problem. You know, they show these guys are recruiting 70-year-olds to go fight. We know exactly where that's at. We have a Predator drone overhead. You could vaporize this whole people. Are they going to draw us in because, these people are so, these 7th century savages are so, I mean, I think a guy with a P-51 Mustang who's 100 years old come out, like, I'm in. Let's go. Suit me up. I mean, are they going to draw us in? Because they're going to hit a ship. You see the carnage, and you're like, oh, we got to do something. That seems like to me. It seems like in the Red Sea, at some point, there's going to be something, some people did something on some day. Remember Ilhan Omar?
Oh,
there's
yeah.
going to be an attack in one of these ships, which we know can defend it against it. But we saw what happened to Liberty as well. So is that going to happen? And is that going to drag us in? And then we're going to not be against Gaza, but against the Houthis, against Yemen, as Iran is the proxy. So then General Miley's happy because that's what they've been wanting. It seems like I'm getting rope-a-doped here, like a Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm going to get hit with the side hook. That's what I'm feeling because they keep showing it more and more. And all the big Twitter people that, have Elon's ear, like, look what's going on in the Red Sea. I'm like, you see what's going on? Ships are scurrying around. They're not going to go. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Let's see here. First and foremost, the leader of the Houthi rebels has had a Twitter account for over 8 years. AJ was kicked off Twitter, so was Trump, but we let the leader of the Houthi rebels on Twitter, and he's remained uninterrupted. So, and just north of Yemen, and you know this as well as I do, is Mecca. Mecca's just north of Yemen, right? Not very far. They're going to do something that is going to or should cause us to erase them. It should, but I don't believe it will, because by letting them just do these little subversive attacks, it gives the United States military or United States Navy a place to be, which worries me because I think they should be somewhere else. But they're disrupting shipping. Now you're seeing that a lot of the merchant ships are going around the Cape of Good Hope, which adds another 4 to 5 days of transit time for goods and services for all those merchant ships that are docked in Virginia, Boston Harbor. So that's going to slow that down, which in turn increases the price of goods and services, increases supply and demand. So if you're a producer, if you're a production company, your product just got more expensive because of some morons with sticks and stones and slingshots and a couple of rockets that Iran has given to you that we have paid for. So it's a win for them. I don't know what we're getting out of it. And at some point, the fly buzzes around, it bothers you enough, and then finally you kill it. At what point do we just erase this fly? I don't understand, but it's a distraction. And it leads me right into another topic that I want to lead to. But that's my thing with the Houthi rebels. Just erase them, get rid of them. They're useless, absolutely useless. All right, I got a topic for you here. Everybody's favorite spokeshole, John Kirby, and he's I want to say he was a two-star admiral. He was just in the White House press room, and he said, quote, "The Biden administration did not leave $6 billion worth of weapons and equipment in Afghanistan." I can't wait to hear your take on this.
They can say that, and they said before they did. They said they left equipment. But they can now say they didn't leave equipment. You're supposed to go, we didn't leave equipment. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, it's like suspended reality. Like, we've seen them running around with full kit, brand new, Humvee. I mean, the list is long. We've seen it, right?
Yeah.
And you go, but no, we didn't leave it. I'm like, but wait a second. Here's a video. No, I'll talk to you later. Talk to the White House counsel on that. Because they can suspend belief enough where no one holds them to it because 95% of the media won't do anything. So it's now, we didn't leave equipment there. Like, but we did leave equipment there. Reminds me of the book 1994. I mean, it's overused kind of analogy, but We just write it out of history. Nope, we didn't leave equipment there. You go, well, okay, we didn't leave equipment there. At some point, it's like, can we wait a second? I know we did, but yet I didn't force you to take this poke, but yet you were to give me fired for my job. Like, well, you just don't work. I'm like, but I got to pay bills, right? Well, don't worry about that. We didn't force you to. I mean, at some point, you got to ask yourself the question, when are people going to go, okay, that's enough? You're making me crazy. Like, I didn't leave it there. It wasn't $6 billion. It was $2 billion. I'm like, well, wait a second. Is it six? I mean, we left equipment, right? A lot of stuff. No. We didn't leave anything. And people just go, okay. No one reports on it. So it'll be, midnight news on Fox News. And everybody just goes, well, whatever. Nobody holds. I mean, Rona alone should be enough to make people run around with pitchforks. And people just go, whatever. So I have no faith in most people that they're going to do anything. I mean, you see, based on the midterm turnout, that's where I lost my hope on most people. Yeah. So it's a shocker. What do you got to land the plane on this one?
All right. So my whole take on the Afghanistan thing, we left equipment. They're denying it. It's a complete lie. Right. Those weapons are now being used in Gaza, in Yemen, in that whole region. They're being used to attack American forces. I've got one last topic for you, and I'm going to cut this one. That's my response there. They're just not even trying to hide it. I got one last topic for you. And so Zelensky, the Ukrainian dancer, has now come out and said the solution for the Russia problem, he's going to get 500 to 600,000 more military people. He's going to get 500 to 600,000 more people in Ukraine to join the Ukrainian military. I've got a solution. We have millions of fighting-aged military men coming through our southern border. Rather than sending cash, let's put them in a flak jacket, fly them to Zelensky in Ukraine. Here's your 500 to 600,000 people. What do you think?
Well, I love the idea, but the same reason the Sudanese doctors don't fly from Sudan to Beijing is the same reason we won't send them Ukraine. They just don't say, hey, I'm in Sudan. I should fly to Ukraine. Kiev. Remember, everybody couldn't get the name right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's like one-upping each other. Bottom line is they need to be here off the dole, tearing apart the fabric. And, of course, it's not most people. But you got a housing crisis. You jam in more people. And like in Denver, they're sitting there and they're running out of their housing. She's like, well, I'm pregnant. She's having the baby here. Let me just start with that anchor baby. So these people they're not doing a French Foreign Legion, Ukrainian Foreign Legion. They're not going there. The idea is great, but they don't want bodies to fight. They want to take Ukraine that to the ground in a war that's not winnable. And it's amazing that we just, again, the border, nobody cares about. No one's down there. Nobody just gives a shit. I know I've talked about that ad nauseum, but they're never going to do it. It makes sense, right? You need some bodies. Okay. So, hey, you want to become a U.S. citizen, you go fight Ukraine for a year. Stay in Ukraine. It's the best place ever. It's better than America. We've heard that. Just go to Ukraine, live there. And you can be a Ukrainian citizen instead of a Guatemalan or, Guyanese citizen. That's what I think about that.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you. And my big question is, if Ukraine has 500 to 600,000 more people that they could put in their military, why are they begging us for money and goods and even at some point asking for us to send support? Do you know how hard it would be for the United States to add 500 to 600,000 more people to our own military? And we think Ukraine if Zelensky's just going to suddenly flip the switch and he's got 600,000 more fighting aged men in the Ukraine military, he is crazy. He's crazy. The other thing I noticed, dabbling in a little bit of European news, Germany, of all places, is about to reinstitute conscription, reinstitute national service. I just saw that. It's a real thing. Germany's doing it. Is that what Ukraine is leading to? What do you think with that? And I'll turn the timer off and we can just wrap this up.
I think they'll just do whatever's necessary to continue this grip for like, oh, Ukraine's trying, so we should send them another $1 billion. It's not a winnable. I mean, what is the number? just like we go into Iraq when the threat was in Afghanistan. What's the look like? What's the vision here? Tell me what this looks like. Agents, CIA or Department of Justice, whoever, Department of State Department. What's the vision of this region? They don't ever tell you this. So we're rooting out terrorists. At what point are we done? When have we rooted out enough? In other words, when have we given enough money to Ukraine? Is it $1 trillion? Because it seems like it's never enough. We keep giving, and they go, well, if you stop now, things for naught. I'm like, well, when is it enough? Is there
the money's not working?
No one can
Money
tell you
doesn't
that.
work. Money doesn't work.
Well, of course it doesn't work. You're fighting a far superior military, more bodies. Just about it. These people in Ukraine don't want to be, hey, you're drafted, you go fight. They're like probably running off every different direction. You can draft them. You can give an AK-47. You can say run that way. They can be cannon fodder. They don't want to do that. It's like the people towards the end of Vietnam are like, I don't want to go to that meat grinder. They didn't believe in it. They didn't want to do it. It's even worse there because they don't. I mean, what do they see as the end? They see Zelensky all over the world, buying a house in Florida, flying to the U.S., going to Disney World. They're like, I thought we were at a war.
There's no real coverage about the Ukraine war on any news. There's a couple of grifters on YouTube that are like combat vets, and they do this daily update with the control map. But the news isn't covering Ukraine at all. I mean, you don't have the Fox News reporter with the helmet and the flak jacket on in Ukraine. He's in Gaza now, right? I mean, Ukraine is a forgotten battle. It's completely off the realm. That's all I got for this week, JT.
All right, my friend. It's been good. You got fine viewers who are watching. Spread the word. Follow us on whatever stupid platforms we're on. Yeah. Just trying to scratch that living on here. Thank you.